how much does life change after you become a dad? For Dan, the Underdog, it's something that's brought new inspiration as an artist and even a young collaborator for new music in the Territory. Dan, the Underdog, has been making an impact both as an artist and a youth worker. He even topped this year's Territory Sounds Countdown with Katanga Jr. for this track.
Yes, nilikupa vinono mimi nikala mifupa. Upendo wangu wa kuthamini jalalane ka utupa. Nasema sasa nenda. Nasema mpenzi nenda.
I was ready to give you the world, dropped on one knee and I gave you a ring. Nothing that I wouldn't do for your girls, nothing that I wouldn't do for my queen. We made a beautiful team when we was working together, sharing a mutual dream, there for each other, for worse or for better. I was so madly in love, I thought you was thinking the same. I don't know what happened to us, I was convinced that everything great. I know you ain't having much trust, thought we could weather the rain. Knew that you could be savage as fuck, but never thought it'd be directed my way. But every day it was something new, questioning my every move. No matter what I do, I always had too much to prove. I wouldn't choose to up and cruise, felt I had too much to lose. Love for the kids, love for you, but you throwing hands is something new. Damn, I couldn't handle the drama, but thought you were still a good mama. I never wanted to take that away from you, why would you undermine me as a father? I want to be friends for the offspring, and that's regardless of problems. Guess that's an impossible option, sad but it happens all too often.
Nilikupa vinono mimi nikala mifupa. Upendo wangu wa kuthamini jalalane ka utupa. Nasema sasa nenda. Nasema mpenzi nenda. Wengi nilijinyima nikakupa wangu mpenzi, kujiamini utalithamini langu mpenzi. Haukuwa shida na raha, ulipenda sana raha, ukuzitaka karaha. Mambo madogo madogo ya ndani yalikunyima raha. Yes, ulijua nilikupenda, moyoni mwangu nilikuweka. Uliumiza mtima wewe ulipondoka, nikabaki mimi nateseka, moyoni mwangu nikisononeka. Nilijiamini nikakuthamini, nikalaya mimi sitokwacha, nikiamini na wewe utoniacha. Miaka yote rudi nenda, nilifanya vingi ulivyopenda. Sikujali mengine kupenda, kwa kuamini wewe wanipenda. Kukuliwaza na kubembeleza nikiwa mbali, wewe wanitenda. Nikiwa na wewe kondoo, nikiondoka wewe ni chui. Ulinichuna kama mbuzi akilini mwangu sijui. Upendo, 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 upendo. Upendo, upendo. Upendo, 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 upendo. Uko wapi wa kweli? Uko wapi wa kweli? Nilikupa vinono mimi nikala mifupa. Upendo wangu wa kuthamini jalalane ka utupa. Nasema sasa nenda. Nasema mpenzi nenda.
Featuring Dan, the Underdog, and Katanga Jr. That was this year's Song of the Year, according to your votes in the Territory Sounds Countdown, Rejected Love.
You're with Dinushi Dias on ABC Radio Darwin and the Northern Territory.
In today's My Life in Music, we're joined by Dan, the Underdog. Now, you may know him from that epic song that won Song of the Year in this year's Territory Sounds Countdown. Rejected Love touched a lot of people across the territory. It's a song he did with Katanga Jr. Dan, were you surprised?
Yeah, I was. It was the first track me and Junior ever did together, and it honestly just kind of sat on my computer for like 2 years, and we didn't do anything with it. We were actually half waiting for a verse from the other guy in Deadbeats, who his name is Threat 3. He helped produce the song, and he was going to drop a verse on it, and it just never came to fruition. Junior came through with a second verse, and Junior said, "Can I put it on my album?" I was like, "Yeah, go for it," because it's just been sitting here, you know. So it was a total surprise when it got put up, because we didn't exactly. Not saying Junior didn't promote it at all, but we didn't exactly think it was like the first single or anything like that. But like I said, stuff surprises you. You know?
He seemed very surprised as well when we told him.
That's the thing about music is you put it out there and you don't know what people are going to latch onto until it happens.
I'd love to go back in time with you, Dan. When you were a kid, what were some of the songs, the artists that were playing around your home?
I was born in Australia. I was born in Adelaide. My mom's from Buffalo. My dad's from Adelaide. When I moved to Buffalo, I didn't love it at first. Like it was cold, it was snowy, it was just, and I was a kid on the beach in Glenelg, running around playing with jellyfish and going to Magic Mountain. Like this is that's the stuff that I loved as a kid. So this was a very different environment. I think I told my mom, like, from very young, like, when I'm 18, I'm going back, and I did it. My earliest memories are Harry Belafonte. Rest in peace. Played a lot of Banana Boat Song and Come Back Lies. Oh man, like I could just, that whole, like, Harry Belafonte's greatest hits was just like a cassette that my earliest cassette that I remember. I remember Green Jelly had that Little Pig, Let Me In. Funnily enough, like even though I was at that point I was a kid in Australia, but they were from Buffalo. The Green Jello were from Buffalo, and my dad actually met them at a bar. Like when we moved over, when I was 9, my dad met them at the bar, brought them over to our house, got us out of bed. Like, hey, this is Green Jello.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he pulled us out of bed, and they were in town visiting family or whatever, or maybe doing a show. I'm not even sure, but they invited us to their studio in LA, and yeah, like I said, I was 9 or 10 years old, and we went there, and yeah, that was pretty amazing. Like we got to see all the puppets that they used in their videos and see where they recorded and all that kind of stuff.
Where was this?
We went to LA. We had an auntie in LA, and we were visiting her for the summer. Like they have the long holidays in America, the school holidays. So we went to LA for one summer, and we met up with Green Jelly or Green Jello. Just let us in. They were super nice, just real nice people. They gave us like all these VHSs and CDs, and I already had the CD, but they signed it all up and gave us posters, and yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool experience.
Do you feel like you got caught with the bug of wanting to be a musician at that point?
You know what? I might have already been writing raps at
the age of 8 or 9.
Like I never really put that together. The first raps I ever wrote were to Coolio Gangsta's Paradise. So this is 95. So yeah, I'm about 9 or 10 as well here. And my cousin and me copied his cadence, copied everything. Like we did it on the beat. You know what I mean? And me and my cousin from Atlanta, he was up visiting me for different school holidays. So that's when I wanted to be a musician. And yeah, it was all around the same time. Like between 9, 10, 11, it's all around the same time. I was making beats shortly after that because MTV made this video game on the PlayStation where you can make beats. It was called the MTV Music Generator, and I was making beats on that. So it was all very young. Not very young, like when you look at like child prodigies that are on the piano, or you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of young musicians that are really talented, but I kind of found my own path.
It's still very young. I mean,
it's still young.
To start something at the age of 8 or 9, a lot of us pick up hobbies at that age, but to do it then for the next 20, 30 years,
yeah.
it's. Do you feel like it's a calling, what you do?
Yeah, I don't know what else I'd do. Like, I can do other things, but if I didn't have that as well, I really don't know where I'd be.
Our guest today is Dan the Underdog, a hip hop artist in Alice. We're going to hear some more of his music shortly. There's one song that I'm loving right now called Cocoa Pops.
That's my son's favorite too.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me about Cocoa Pops. What were you thinking about when you wrote this?
The sample brought me straight back to the 90s. You know what I mean? Being a kid, just thinking about, my sister, I have an older sister on my Australian side, from my dad's side. And I remember her playing this, her and her friends. Like, I remember, so it just brought me right back to that place. So I talked about my childhood and, Cocoa Pops being my favorite cereal, the Saturday morning cartoons. But then I moved to Buffalo. I turned 18 and I came back out to Australia. And now I'm a grown-ass man. I can eat my Cocoa Pops whenever I want. I can eat them for dinner. Y'all can't stop me. And then in the third verse, I brought it to, now I got a baby. And I share that with him. Like, we eat our Cocoa Pops together, So it's like 3 stages of my life. And it's just a funny way to conjoin them all,
I used to wake up way before my mom and pops, go downstairs and pour a big bowl of Cocoa Pops. Before anyone could tell me stop, and put my cartoons on and smash out and watch. Milk to the brim, cereal was spilling over, Ninja Turtles blaring, sitting on a sticky sofa. Gotta clean my room, wait till Ren and Stimpy over, jumping around like Peter Pan. I said I'm never gonna grow up. That's it, trampolines were bad news, stay off it. But I had a mate, Thomas from St. Thomas, who had one in his backyard and let me go ape on it. Till it was time to come inside, then we played Sonic. Once a week we would go to Adelaide markets. Mom would give us our allowance that would blaze pockets. Go home with our toys and eat pierogi and a braised sausage. A little artist full of dreams that used to make comics. I said I'm never gonna grow up, I'm just gonna do the Peter Pan. I get better at it with experience, and I let my inner child be the man. And as I get thinner, get taller, that mean I can go on bigger rides. And as I get bigger, get bolder, I don't wanna ever lose the kid inside. Back when Mark Wahlberg was Marky Mark, back when Snoop Lion was Doggy Dog, we used to play records that my auntie got from New York in the 80s that made me want to be an MC. Used to dub whatever I could get free, listen to them when I used to cruise up on my 10-speed. Still drawing till I taught myself to make beats. I had a mean tape before I was ever turning 18. So what I'ma go to college for? To try to get an education that I can afford, to get a job that I don't want, grow up and be a bore. I'd rather travel, get a couple stories to record. So I'ma do the Peter Pan and fly away. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do it, but I'll find a way. Left with nothing but a dream and a couple rhymes to say. And now I eat my Cocoa Pops at any time of day. I said I'm never gonna grow up, I'm just gonna do the Peter Pan. I get better at it with experience, and I let my inner child be the man. And as I get thinner, get taller, that mean I can go on bigger rides. And as I get bigger, get bolder, I don't wanna ever lose the kid inside. I can rap my ass off, I got some crazy skills, but unfortunately that ain't really paying bills. I can't wait around forever for that lazy meal. Then I got a phone call that hit me like an 80s feel. I can be a youth worker, that's the perfect job. I can transfer all the skills that I've already got. Record songs with kids, play with them and get involved. When the troubled youth speaks, listen to them when they talk. I can go to work and act like I'm the biggest kid. I don't care if you don't get me, cause Larissa did. And you know I'm clicking with her daughters to the point sometimes they wondering if I'm the real father. I would take it if you didn't know your pops. Now we got a little baby and the show don't stop. We got a new Ninja Turtles and a RoboCop. I put his cartoons on and eat my Cocoa Pops. I said I'm never gonna grow up, I'm just gonna do the Peter Pan. I get better at it with experience, and I let my inner child be the man. And as I get thinner, get taller, that mean I can go on bigger rides. And as I get bigger, get bolder, I don't wanna ever lose the kid inside.
Cocoa Pops by Dan the Underdog, an Alice Springs hip-hop artist who's with you today, sharing some of the songs he's written and produced recently, talking about life as well. How has becoming a dad, Dan, changed your approach to music?
You know what? I've seen so many musicians become fathers and just kind of like stop. I couldn't do that. I didn't want to stop it. Like everything around me still inspired me, and I find the time to do gigs. That, and that's lucky to have had that support around me. But we even gig together. You know what I mean? If it's an all ages event, we even gig together now.
Do you? So how old is is it your son?
Well, my son's 9 now.
Okay.
So he's old enough to jump on stage with me and rap too.
Fun.
So if you check that song, he calls himself Little Johnny. That's his little rap name. And yeah, so he raps too. He got into it. It was funny because you might have heard me in Rejected Love. I didn't see my son for a while, and I went through the court processes and all that. But when I picked my son up for the first time in not seeing him over a year, he just started spitting bars in the car.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
I was like,
just for background, you haven't seen him for a year because you were working through a separation, is that right? And then finally you got to reunite a year later.
Yeah.
And all that time he's been preparing to show you some of his rap.
It was so cute. And I, we went home and I was like, we can record that. He did a whole track of like freestyles, like a whole 10 tracks of freestyles just on these on random beats that I produced that I just picked for him. You want this one? Yep, go. And then it was super cute.
What's the song that you've done with him, Up to the Sky, about?
Up to the Sky is about just using your imagination to take you other places. So if you're too hot, you can imagine yourself somewhere cold. And then with that, we just stemmed into this whole. We went to outer space, and my son he likes to do video editing too. So he basically wanted an excuse to film in front of a green screen so he could edit it. So we actually wrote it with the video also in mind. He was learning CapCut, and he was showing me that he can just like pull the backgrounds out. I was like, oh man, if we got in front of a green screen, and then we did. We rented we went to Adelaide for just for the school holidays, bring him down there for his birthday and stuff. And while we were there, we just got into this basement studio in Rundle Mall, and we just rented the place out for maybe 1 or 2 hours. I think she was lenient with us, and it was we just basically dressed up as Spider-Man and Venom and pretended we were in space, and my sister joined in. She pretended she was an alien, and he had this whole vision, and I just helped him. I helped him kind of put it in rhyme form, and we do a back and forth. So I'm rapping just as much as him, if not a little bit more. But this was all his story. And
can we see the video anywhere?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Dan the Underdog and Lil Johnny, Up to the Sky.
We gon' take 'em high.
We gon' take 'em high.
Past the clouds, take us up to the sky. We gon' take 'em high.
We gon' take 'em high. Can we fly?
We don't know till we try. Come here, son, let me show you the world. It looks small from up here when we up with the birds. Thinking the words, maybe kicking the verse. Let your surroundings inspire you. Live and observe.
Can I teleport?
Where you wanna go?
To a different dimension.
You can when your eyes are closed. You can go to the land of the dinosaurs. You can make yourself cold when the climate warm. Your only limit's your imagination, son, but your mind is strong. It takes concentration. Can you picture it?
Yeah.
What's your observations?
I see a pterodactyl in the distance and it's raining.
Wow, I can see it too. I think we need to move soon or he might think we fooled.
Let's go to space.
Where are we, the moon? Wow, look at Earth from up here, a tiny ball of blue. Step off the spaceship like, man, I feel weightless. You think this place is safe?
Look at the alien.
He don't look gracious to have us in his graces.
I don't know, maybe he's nice. Don't be racist. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover.
You right, he's coming over. Let's say what's up.
What's up?
He dap us up.
What's up, partner?
He know a little English from his time in Nevada.
I live in working area 51.
Think you could bring us on?
I do have a ship I run.
We can teleport you, till then we can have some fun.
Show us around.
Then we can explore till your shift is done. All we did was get to see where we stay. But a terrorist alien had other plans that day. Set off a bomb, took out half of the place. Freed a symbiote that attached to my face. Now I'm full of venomous rage.
I ducked in the alley to get myself changed. Not even my dad knew I was Spider-Man. Come out web slinging, ready to fight the man.
Tag team the terrorists like separation anxiety.
I whipped them up after we defeated
started rebuilding the bomb site with Legos.
By the way, my name is
Jeffrey who?
Jeffrey Bezos.
Jeffrey Bezos, the founder of Amazon?
Yes, sir.
We gon' take him high.
We gon' take him high.
As the clouds take him up to the sky. We gon' take him high.
We gon' take him high. Can we fly?
We don't know till we try.
We gon' take him high.
We gon' take him high.
Past the clouds, take us up to the sky. We gon' take him high.
We gon' take him high. Can we fly?
We don't know till we try. Can we fly?
We don't know till we try. Can we fly?
We don't know till we try.
Dan the Underdog and Little Johnny. And if you want to catch that gorgeous video, you can find it online. Search for Up to the Sky. You're on ABC Radio Darwin with Dinushi Dias and our special guest, Dan the Underdog, taking you through some of the songs. And also great to see some new talent out there with Little Johnny. So you're keen to hear more of his stuff, Dan. You know, as a dad, are there things you worry about now that you didn't previously?
Generally, for his safety, I guess. Like I didn't have anything that I cared about so much to worry about to that extent. You know, especially being a single father from him being such a young age. You know, yeah, I definitely had worries.
What gives you hope or a sense of peace as you're navigating, you know, life as an artist, but also raising a young man in the territory?
He seems to have a really good, just general moral compass. You know, like I think we instilled that early enough, and he's a really kind-hearted kid. So that definitely gives me peace. You know, he doesn't really have any aspirations to run amok or, you know, kind of act out. Sometimes he don't listen, but he's a really good kid at heart. So that gives me peace.
He's a critical thinker, so it doesn't always just become a yes man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's good too. That gives me peace too. Like he questions authority in some sense, but at the end of the day, he's
a kind heart.
We got
so
each
powerful.
other. Yeah, we got each other.
You're with Dinushi Dias on ABC Radio Darwin and the Northern Territory.
There's been a lot in the news recently about crime and then also the way kids are being moved between Alice Springs Detention Facility and Dondale and the impacts of that and what's going on at Dondale has been talked about for a long, long time. You've worked with kids in some of these facilities. What's the insight you have on these young people that maybe society as a whole isn't quite understanding?
Man, it's hard to say that exactly what society, how society as a whole views these kids, but from what I do see, is pretty negative in terms of like a lot of what is said about them in the media and what is said about them on the news and on Facebook and stuff. But you know, there's an African proverb. I don't want to fully mess it up, but it goes along the line of a kid that's not accepted by his community will burn it down just to feel the warmth, and that really resonated with me, and I feel like that's a lot of what's going on. You know, a lot of the kids feel not included or immediately frowned upon by, you know, just for existing, and I've seen it myself where I've been with two kids, you know, one white, one black. I was working at ASIAS at the time, and I just watched the black kid get followed the whole time by security, and the white kid went a different way. And you know what I mean? It's just like, it's so obviously, the racism is so in your face. And man, I see the same thing in the juvenile detention center. It's very, almost everybody I work with, like with very few exceptions, is indigenous, you know. I don't know. I think there's something going on in terms of the way that different races are being judged and punished as well.
And that proverb you shared, a kid that doesn't feel supported or loved by the village or the community will burn it down to feel the warmth. I mean, that's such there's a very, I guess, real way of putting it. What have you found helps, with the handful of people that you've worked with? Have you met a young kid that was on the wrong path and seen them change their life around?
I've seen a lot of kids that, and because I've been doing youth work long enough to watch kids grow up and be contributing members of society, now, and also still, I've seen people that were on that, have gone through that criminal justice system and come out the other side, and are now giving back to the younger kids now, by working with youth work, by doing youth work and working with them. Kids do grow up, like kids do mature. I've also seen it happen where they stay in the system, so it can go either way.
With the kids who do, get out of the system and are able to turn their lives around, what are some of the key things that help? You
never know a kid's whole story. I would say that there was definitely some support there, though. There would have been, whether they got out and they found, they went back to a family and were supported, or if they found a partner that was a good influence, or if they just said, okay, look, I'm 18 now, I got to pull my head in, and it just kind of, they might have found the job that they found, a job that fit them. Having your own income, it makes a huge difference. Somebody gave someone a chance and it worked. They were able to change their life doing that. Give kids a chance. They might surprise you, or, and hey, if they don't, then life goes on. At least you tried,
That point about just, people want to feel like someone believes in them. I mean, I can relate to that, and I'm sure if you're listening in and you think back on your life and the moments where you've struggled, then being able to turn it around, like surely there would have been someone who just offered some kindness or warmth that helped you, take a step out of that darkness you were in. And it's human. It's a human thing to have someone believe in you to be able to get out of those situations. I remember speaking to this man in Western Australia who'd been homeless for a long, long time. And he said, one of the things that people don't understand when they look at people who do end up being homeless for, years, decades, is that people stop believing in them. But what eventually got him out of that situation was getting connected to a group that actually loved him, and he felt like he had a home and a community. Yeah. And then he started to make steps to change his life around after that. So it can go a long way.
Yeah, it can. Definitely.
You're with Dinushi Dias on ABC Radio Darwin and the Northern Territory.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with us today, Dan. I've got your last song here, Old Earth. What's this one about?
Old Earth was kind of written from the perspective of Earth. Not kind of. It was written from the perspective of Earth,
So like Earth talking to you?
Yeah, Earth talking to the humans. That it's basically saying, like, you can treat me how you want, but it's only going to affect you because I will be okay. I've been here this long. I'm not going anywhere. If you decide to make it uninhabitable for yourselves, I will shake it off. Give me a couple centuries and you'll be gone like nothing happened. That's how old I am, So you can either start treating me right and it'll work in your favor, or you will lead to your own demise, and I will shake it off. I'll be fine.
I was here before you came, and I'll remain here when you leave. I've seen it all, much more than you can fathom in your dreams. I was here before the notion of an Adam or an Eve, before the notion of a God, and I'll be here when it depletes. You'll leave a little mess, but I've had a lot of harder days, survived meteorites. I was here before the tardigrades, built for resilience when the moon and I had parted ways. I stood by as you climbed out of the primordial marmalade. I knew your ancestors well, I watched them come and go. You are all connected, all of you that call me home. Therefore everything is natural, including styrofoam, including including plastics, they just take a little while to dissolve. I be going through the motions. Sometimes I'm kinda warm, survive the heat, just as I survive the ice and storms. I was here before the dinosaurs, here before the primates, and watched as you were trying to form intelligent. I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to make. To me, you seem to be the most self-sabotaging dying race. Build up on the coast and then complain about the tidal waves. Don't know what kind of legacy you gonna leave in cyberspace, but this is your time and space. Enjoy it while you got them. As far as I'm concerned, you can burn all the carbon. It all come around and go around up in the garden. Reach for stardom if you want it. We ain't nothing but some stardust. You are part of something larger, you are just a speck on. I am part of something larger too, like an electron. My sun is like the nucleus I circle and depend on. If it goes, I go, but I don't think you'll be here that long. To cry for one but not another would be empty tears. Been here for plenty years, I look at all of you as brothers. Your greatest mind figured out E equals MC squared. You took that info, made another way to kill each other. Do you look at me as mother or a large conquest? You think you owning me? I think you got a God complex. You are a part of me, that's really not a hard concept. And if you think you killing me, well, that's a long process. And my guess is you probably gonna kill yourself first, make your health worse, and fight about where you attend church. Me, I'll be fine, I'll sweep you up under some old dirt. I'll miss you guys, sincerely yours, your old earth.
That was Old Earth, Dan, by Dan the Underdog. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, Dan.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on.
It's been a lot of fun, and these songs are really powerful and fun as well. If anyone wants to see you live or get involved with one of your youth workshops, have you got anything planned for the rest of the year?
My youth workshops are generally, I do them kind of daily for different organizations. So yeah, just have a look. You can inbox me if you want to know the next one. But besides that, I'm doing the Desert Festival on September 29th out at Lindavale Park. I'm going to do a youth showcase. I'm going to perform. Carnage and Darkness will be there. And it's going to be a great day. I'm sure there'll be plenty of food, and they might pull up the food trucks or do a barbie or something. But yeah, great family event, all hip hop. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
You can catch Dan the Underdog there. You're on ABC Radio Darwin and the Northern Territory.